Welcome, Cosmic Creepers, to Geek Salad's Retro Movie Reviews from Geek Salad Podcast. I'm Andy.
And I'm Mike.
And tonight we continue our Disney month of April with the second and your second choice for our live-action Disney film that we're going to cover, 1971's Bedknobs and Broomsticks. Broomsticks.
This is my broomstick. Wait, hold on.
Just be fortunate we watched the Disney one and not the fetish porn one. So
yeah. Apparently, in 1996 there was like an extended version of this that was released.
There was?
With actually like 20 minutes, but I guess some of that footage was like they took back, like the director went back and found a lot of, wait, maybe not the director, because I think the director's dead. Yeah, he is. But they went and found like a lot of footage that they deleted from the original movie, but then some of it was unrecoverable, so they had to do like some weird things.
So they essentially what they did with like the Superman 2 Donner cut, where they just use screen tests and assembly cut stuff just to kind of flesh out the story a little bit more.
Yeah, well, I mean, they did include one song that was included in the original, but was cut, and I guess was included again in the musical.
Okay.
And it's on the soundtrack. It's called "A Step in the Right Direction."
Yes, I'm familiar. In fact, I was expecting to hear that one, and you know, in the last couple of days leading up to doing this, that's the song that's been stuck in my head.
It's a good song. It is a really good song.
It is a very good song, and I believe that Angela Lansbury makes it her own. It is a shame that it's not in there, even though I'm fairly certain it's shown up in like Disney compilations.
Yeah,
like there is a series of Disney compilations I think came out late '90s, early aughts, 4 CDs, and if you put the CDs together, you'd have like a multicolor Mickey Mouse.
Yeah. I've heard of those. Yeah.
I think that "Step in the Right Direction" is one of those songs. That's it. There were a few songs on that series that really, like, where is this from? Why don't you tell me where this is from?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's a whole thing on Wikipedia about the 1996 restoration, and it was pretty much just because of that song.
Okay, well, I mean, it is a good song to rescue.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, as we start with every movie review that we do. When was the very first time you saw Bedknobs and Broomsticks?
Probably mid to late 80s.
My VHS, that big fat white clamshell. Yep.
Oh yeah, okay. I mean, pretty much the majority of our VHS collection at that time was Disney movies.
Right.
And that one we either bought or rented.
Okay. Hey, man, that dog really wants in on this conversation, huh?
Well, the dog, yes, but my cat also, I think, wants in. So I will be right back.
You pause that. I'll tell when I first saw this movie, because the first time I saw this movie might have been on The Magical World of Disney, like one of their Saturday or Sunday night movies. But after that, I don't think I saw it in its, like, I don't think I saw it kind of like start to finish until Criminy. It must have been like 15 years ago. I think Autumn and I rented this from Netflix because she grew up with this movie and I didn't. So we watched it then. It had always been kind of a curiosity to me because it was never taken out of circulation the way that a lot of Disney movies were back in the days of the vault. And so it was always there, and it was always kind of a curiosity to me. But yeah, so we saw it then, and then I know I watched it at least once before when I don't think it was we might have watched it again at some point with the kids long ago, but then we watched it again this weekend to kind of I wanted to do it for this, and I don't remember if my son had seen it or not, so we watched it then.
Yeah, I mean, I probably haven't seen it in probably 20-25 years.
Right. I kind of feel like the legacy of this movie really is that it has a devoted fan base. It's like, we talk about those, like the Disney faithful, and this one has a real strong following amongst the Disney faithful. Chris said, "This is the one I've yet to see. There's a lot of Disney stuff from this era I have yet to see. It is on Disney Plus, Kurt.
Yeah.
As everything we talk about is." So,
yeah, I mean, actually,
wait for that paycheck, Disney. God damn it! I'll take a trip. Mike and I will take a trip. Okay, on you, just for soliciting this to the 15 people that are gonna watch this video. So come on.
Well, I mean, like, when I posted on Facebook yesterday that I was watching this, Steve Day actually posted that he actually preferred this to Mary Poppins.
Yeah, and I can see that.
I mean, this was clearly the Disney's attempt to recapture the Mary Poppins magic after Walt Disney had died.
Well, checking the IMDb trivia on this one, I guess Walt, I want in on that. Apparently, it is really hard, Kurt, to get Disney to pay attention to us. So, I mean, and I've essentially just painted myself purple and danced naked on a harpsichord, saying, "Come on, give me a ticket, please." I feel like this movie. Well, first of all, to continue my story, sorry, that after the issues that Disney had with P.L. Travers, to get the rights to just do the one Mary Poppins movie, if you could look up the name of the author that wrote the original book of Bedknobs and Broomsticks.
Yeah, this is actually based on two of her books, and it was Mary Norton.
Mary Norton. He bought up all the rights to all the stories. He wasn't going to make that mistake again.
Well, actually, he was working on this first before Mary Poppins.
Okay.
Because he was having so much trouble with P.L. Travers that he wanted Mary Poppins, but he was like, all right, it doesn't look like I'll be able to get that one, so let's start working on Bedknobs and Broomsticks. And I guess the Sherman brothers started writing stuff on that. But when he finally got P.L. Travers to agree, he was like, okay, let's shelve Bedknobs and Broomsticks for now. I'll work on Mary Poppins.
And I hate to say it, feels like it.
Yeah,
I remember this movie being better than it was.
Yeah, much like when we talked about 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea last week, that was a movie that when I saw it as a kid and then saw it as it actually got better, improved with age. This one, kind of the opposite. I remember it being a lot better than it actually is.
Yes. I don't know what it is about the most current viewing other than it feels like a lot of the songs are, and in fact, Beautiful Briny Sea is a discard for Mary Poppins.
I had heard that. Yeah, I know there was an underwater scene planned that they had to scrap.
Right. So it was a Sherman Brothers song, and this is the last feature film the Sherman Brothers did for Disney.
They didn't actually do the music for this one. This one, music by Irwin Costal.
Okay. Sherman Brothers are given a credit for this, though.
Yeah, I think they started working on some songs, and then when it was shelved, they stopped. And I think a lot of their stuff was kind of picked up afterwards,
right,
and kind of finished.
Right. I thought the special effects for 1971 were very good, and they deserved that Oscar that they won for it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But I think the most striking thing about this movie in its attempt to emulate Mary Poppins, other than the fact that there is a completely unnecessary dance sequence, an extended dance sequence.
I even texted you. I was like, "What the hell is up with this dancing?"
It's Steppin' Time, except it's not. It's in the
it's not.
What is the name of the square?
Portobello Road.
Portobello Road, and it's this extended dance number where they bring out all of these different styles of world dancing, and it was just like, Okay, when does this end?
Yeah, I mean that's the
Uh,
thing. Is like the song Portobello Road. I actually really the songs in general. I actually really like.
the songs themselves were okay. It was funny too how long it took us to get the first song though.
Yeah,
I feel like we were a solid 15 to 20 minutes into the movie before we even got the first song.
yeah. The Age of Not Believing.
Yes. Yeah. And it's as they're kicking off their actual adventure.
Yeah,
But the thing that was most striking to me was the differences in the animation, because this was just like Mary Poppins, this has extended sequences of blending live action and animation,
a
which
very extended scene.
yeah, which in and of itself is a feat. Especially in 1971. I mean, it had been done before. It had been done in Mary Poppins. It had
I've
been
got my
done
own
in
Cosmic Creeper coming down here.
oh hey, it. I mean, it was done in Song of the South. It was done in Mary Poppins. It's been done several times before, but I feel like the style of animation changed. Disney was firmly into that Xerox pencil look at that point. The animation certainly looks closer to Robin
Jungle
Hood,
Book.
or it looks closer to Robin Hood than it did Sleeping Beauty. If you're really trying to match the eras of animation,
Yeah, it felt very Jungle Bookish, very Robin Hoodish.
right? Exactly, and a lot of the characters, like that bear. I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
all it needed to be was voiced by Phil.
Harris.
Thank you, Phil Harris, and it would have been Baloo.
I mean, in
The
the
lion
lion.
was just a fuller version of Prince John.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah, and it's only one of those things that I don't think takes away from the initial enjoyment of watching the movie. If you've never seen this movie before, you might not notice that. But I just feel like, and maybe it's just because we've been doing so many of these, that I'm kind of getting an eye for when they're doing this, when they're blending the animation styles and the live action, and it's very much that Disney era.
I mean, the animation, the blending this time, it was very much more immersive. I mean, with the Mary Poppins, it was more like they were in with like the painted backdrops, and then the animated characters were kind of included in there. This
Right.
one, the sets, the characters, they were all animated. It's the whole thing, whole shebang.
Right, right. Which, again, is very impressive. And especially, with something where, you don't see the wires.
Right. Oh yeah. They actually that was very noticeable. Actually, the fact that I didn't notice the wires.
Right, right.
I mean, with the shoes, when the shoes started dancing, I was like, they're doing a fine job with that one.
The broomstick.
Yeah.
Same thing with the broomstick. I feel like they did a very good job with that. I mean, they did such a good job that I honestly thought the cat was an animatronic. I legitimately did. And I essentially am just taking it as an absence of a point of trivia on IMDb that is actually a real cat, because that's the only thing that's going to convince me that was a living animal.
That was one really mangy ass cat, though.
That cat, yeah. But the weird thing is too is I don't know if they got lucky with all the second unit cat responses and stuff that they got, but that cat didn't feel real.
It was certainly much more better trained than my cat right here.
No, exactly. Well, your cat's just got to show you her butt every yeah. Hey, you're recording. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, I mean, it's very hard to not compare this to Mary Poppins.
I mean, they even got the same director, David Tomlinson. Went from the Mr. Banks role to the more of the birdish role.
Yep. Oh god, what's the name of the captain in Mary Poppins?
Admiral Boom.
Admiral Boom. Admiral Boom is in this movie.
Yeah, he's the Major General Tiegler.
Yes. In one of his final roles, actually. There's a lot with this movie that it's hard not to compare it to Mary Poppins, but I kind of feel like we have to.
I mean, it felt like Disney wanted you to. I mean,
Right.
I mean, so many elements are exactly the same between the two. I mean, you have the song built around a nonsense phrase.
Yeah.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious,
Expedition. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
locomotion. Yeah. You have the animated sequence. You have the kind of dance scene, which was much more effective in Shim Shim Cheree.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
the kids. I feel like I like the Banks kids better than I like those three kids.
Well, I mean, the thing about the Banks kids is that their story is really kind of integral to the plot of the movie.
Right.
In this one, only one kid has anything to do with the plot. The other two are just along for the ride.
Right.
They should have gotten rid of the two older kids and just had the younger one because he's the only one that has any forward momentum on the plot line.
It's funny because the older boy really, to me, felt like he was almost like one of the 70s British talk show hosts. I mean, there were just times he just had like that David Frost look about him as he's dressing down Miss Price for no good reason. Charlie, yeah.
Yeah. The funny thing is
the only one who really does anything of any note, and he's just there to look precocious.
Yeah. And the what was the girl's name?
Carrie.
She literally does nothing in the movie.
Right.
Literally does nothing.
Added a third child just to balance out the two boys. Is that what's going on here?
Seems like it.
It's weird because they used a lot of big name talent with very limited capacity.
Yeah.
You've got Roddy McDowall, who's third billed in this movie and has less than 5 minutes of screen time and 3 lines of dialogue.
I guess there actually was a subplot about him that was eventually cut.
Okay.
I guess he was originally intended to. He was interested in marrying Mrs. Price, but just for her property.
Oh, okay.
Which kind of makes that last scene with him, where he just shows up and magic stuff's happening and he runs away. That makes it a little bit more sensible.
Yeah. Forsyth, who is more famous in British circles, but literally one scene.
Yeah. 2 scenes. Two
scenes, but they're kind of interconnected. Post Planet of the Apes, and he gets third billed. That's amazing. It is actually.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Angela Lansbury at this time was a huge movie star.
Yeah.
She was. I think she's at this point thrice Academy Award nominated. I mean, if you've ever seen the original Manchurian Candidate, she is goddamn evil in it, and it's hard. It's really hard to think of Angela Lansbury as being a bad person at all. Angela Lansbury she reminds me, and she's only like 2 years younger than. She reminds me so much of my grandmother. It's not even funny. My 98-year-old grandmother, and it's. But my wife sees it too. It's just like you think of Angela Lansbury, we think of Nanny,
Yeah. She was thrice Academy Award nominated.
Yes.
She had never won.
She had never won, but she actually I think is the second highest Tony winner of all time, though, right behind Audra McDonald.
Yes, she is. At this point, she was a 2-time Tony Award winner.
Yeah, at that point, yeah. Sweeney Todd hadn't come out yet.
Right. She was. She'd won for Mame and Dear World.
Right. But and then she went on. She did Murder, She Wrote, where it's hard to believe no one ever pinned any of those murders on Jessica because she just shows up in every small Maine town. Somebody dies, and she's like, "Well, we get to get to the bottom of this. How are we not getting down to the bottom? It's you every time."
You know what's weird? Yeah.
She kills him. Oh, in Manchurian Candidate, yes.
Yeah.
God, she's tough to watch in it because she's so evil. Like even in Sweeney Todd, she is not the best person, but she's so cheery about it.
It's weird though because just watching it again yesterday, Angela Lansbury has a gorgeous voice, but it felt like more or less most of the songs went to David Tomlinson.
It did.
He took center stage in most of the songs there.
Which is funny, too, because he has, like, that Rex Harrison type of, like, singing type of voice.
Not a bad voice at all, but...
Oh, no, not a bad voice at all. But it's weird seeing him in that role. You know, you called it the Burt role. Considering, we Mr. Banks. We will always know him first as Mr. Banks.
Right. And he was also, later on, he popped up as the villain in The Love Bug.
That's right, he did. Oh, good Lord. That might have to be one we... you know what? Can I call an audible?
Maybe.
You want to make The Love Bug our week 4?
I don't know. I really do like Debbie O'Gill.
Okay. It's fair. It's fair.
You
know what? Maybe we should do that. Or maybe this is a Twitter poll.
Well, given how well Darby O'Gill and little people did on our Twitter poll.
I don't know exactly how well Love Bug would have gone either, especially with the black. I was shocked we're not talking about it yet.
Yeah.
I'm honestly amazed we didn't talk about that last week, but
yeah.
Anyway,
but
go ahead.
Another thing that just kind of like just struck me about this one is the relationship between David Tomlinson and pretty much everyone else it just developed really, really fast.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, they spent like a few hours together on a couple of adventures, and suddenly the con man who already built the youngest kid out of a penny and almost got them all killed is suddenly, oh, he's my dad. He's our daddy figure.
Right. Exactly. It's funny too because at the end of the movie, he's kind of getting his redemption that he's going to go off to war, and he's not going off with all the other old men on this portion of the British island. And it's like they're not taking it. It's like, oh, we'll see you when the war is over. No, you'll see him in like a week. He's patrolling the island. Yeah. He's 60. There's no way this is going to happen.
But yeah, it's the 70s, so. Obviously, since Eglantine,
that ranges up there with like Dorcas as like old names that you don't name people anymore.
Yeah. Since Eglantine is a woman, she never really wanted to be a witch in the first place. Yeah, she kind of did. So she was
very good at it. Yeah.
So she's not too upset that all of her magical stuff gets destroyed, and she's happy to become the housewife now.
Right.
What the hell? 70s.
Yep. I will say that the siege against the Nazis with all of the armor and stuff was really cool. It's a no strings type of thing. The special effects in this movie are really stand out about this movie.
But the Nazis, they are some of the most incompetent Nazis this side of Colonel Klink. Let's shoot them a whole bunch of times. It didn't work. Let's shoot them a whole bunch more times. Didn't work. Let's keep shooting them.
They were lucky that they pulled this duty instead of having to go to Greece. Okay.
Let's lock up the woman and these kids in a place with more weapons than we have ever seen before in our lives.
Yeah, but they had their Gatling guns and stuff. They had their old timey machine guns.
And two of them can be knocked out by one uppercut by a middle-aged old man.
Yeah. Wow. Again, they're just happy they didn't pull Greek Island duty.
Yeah. Or get sent to the Eastern Front.
That's true. Exactly. What do you get to do? Well, I get to go to the sleepy British island that is populated with old people. Literally not a teenager or anybody below the age of 50 in sight. In fact, Angela Lansbury was 46 when she did this movie.
I think the youngest person in the cast, other than the kids, was probably Roddy McDowall.
I think so too. It's funny too because when we're watching the movie, and you know, seeing Angela Lansbury, and a lot of it I think was the hair and the fact that just in our own minds, Angela Lansbury to an old woman. So the hair this hair certainly didn't help, but it's like she's supposed to be and I in the book, Eglantine is a lot younger.
Makes sense.
But it's funny because I had a hard time not believing that she was a 60-year-old woman. And a lot of that, again, was the fashion of the time. And so Disney did up a lot of their women at that point.
Yeah. You kind of get the feeling that if they could have, they would have cast Mary Poppins.
Julie Andrews.
Thank you. Yeah, Julie Andrews.
Piece of trivia.
And Dick Van Dyke.
She turned it down initially, and then had second thoughts, feeling that she owed it to Walt Disney because she felt like she owed her career to Walt Disney. But by that point, they'd already hired Angela Lansbury.
Yeah, you feel like they would have cast Julie Andrews and Dick Van Dyke if they could have.
Yeah.
Because it just felt like those were the roles that they wanted to.
Right. Well, Dick Van Dyke was off shooting Chitty Chitty Bang Bang for MGM. So, fun point. Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, not a Disney movie.
No, it's not. It was MGM.
It is a common mistake. And when you were mentioning that yesterday, and John's friend Christine brought that up, I was this close to telling her we're not discussing because it's not a Disney movie. Instead, I told my story about the live action or the theatrical version of Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. It was canceled because there's a rule that you can't have more people on stage than there are in the audience.
Yeah, that's another movie that I haven't seen in a very, very long time, and I get the feeling probably won't stand up to time.
Not at all. It barely feels like a children's movie.
Yeah.
It really is one of those things. That is a nostalgia goggles heavy movie. I don't feel like Bedknobs and Broomsticks is nostalgia goggles heavy. It is not exempt from scrutiny, though. As we've been talking about for like the last half hour here, that it's not exempt from scrutiny. This movie is, especially when you think about how the live action Disney movies were going at this point, like The Love Bug, like the Shaggy GA, like anything that had Dean Jones in it, or it was definitely production-wise a step above those. But there's a lot of earmarks where the budgets were starting to get trimmed down. They're starting to receive a lot of the same style of story. And, can we still hire Haley Mills for this? Or are we off to doing Jodie Foster now? And
that's what I would like to watch, and I think might stand up at the time is The Parent Trap.
We watched that a few years ago, and it's pretty good. It still holds up pretty well, other than every cultural reference in the movie.
Obviously.
But it's just funny when you think about this too, is that it is this, and again, it's Disney trying to find their voice and trying to find their new artistic avenues to go through, because this was that decade in between late 70s. Disney's one era I'll probably skip. Interesting you bring that up, Kurt, because I feel like all of the issues with having, you're starting kind of on a high point, 71 with Bedknobs and Broomsticks, which definitely had a budget.
Yeah.
As that decreases, as the live action movies kind of get dumber and dumber, I feel like all of that is just this downward slide to when the next time they decide to do this type of integrated animation live action, now you're stuck with Pete's Dragon.
Ooh.
Which is, I'm sorry, I don't know what your thoughts are, Mike, an audience. I don't know what your thoughts are. I think the movie's abhorrent.
I like certain aspects of it, but there are there are big chunks that I don't like. I didn't even like back when I first watched it.
Right.
And
it starts with that kid. That kid can't sing.
I don't blame him on that one. It's his family. Those like
the hillbillies.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't like them even back then, and no.
I don't feel like the director of that movie really had an idea also what how to direct a dance scene, because you got Helen Reddy doing her dances, pretty much shooting her from the waist up, and it's like you got to pay attention to her feet.
Yeah,
you got to see the whole body when you're doing dance numbers.
Although that movie does have one of my all-time favorite Disney songs.
Which one's that? Candle on Water. Okay.
Yeah, Helen Reddy. Oh, beautiful voice on that one.
Yeah. So I don't know if you've got any other thoughts on.
I will say that.
Bedknobs and Broomsticks.
Yeah, I will say that this is. It's still a charming movie. Like the high points, I think, are definitely Angela Lansbury and David Tomlinson.
Yeah.
So I think they still stand out as really, really high points of this one. It's just a lot of the rest of the movie is pretty flawed.
Yeah. I would say, in terms of grading this one, I would say it's a solid middle of the road B.
I would give it
and Boomsticks.
Yeah, I would give it a C plus.
Okay.
Yeah, as a C plus, I would say, because I mean, yeah, I mean, especially Angela Lansbury. Every moment she's on, I just really, really love her. I think
I do too. I light up when I see that, and that.
Yeah.
Realistically, I think this might be kind of dictating where our next year's Disney podcast discussion goes. I think we got to discuss Disney in the 70s.
You sadistic bastard, you.
Mike, we just undid years and years of therapy the other night, so I think we can handle this.
Yeah, but with that was just like moments of emotional. This 70s is a prolonged period of just malaise.
Gorba! So yeah, I don't know what else I could say about this other than I do recommend you watch it and kind of form your own opinion. So Kurt, definitely watch this if you haven't seen Bedknobs and Broomsticks. Again, it's on Disney Plus. What the hell else are you gonna do? Especially if you live in the Northeast like us, you're getting snow tomorrow. So what else are you gonna do, right?
I did one thing. One more thing I did notice is that they did make liberal use of painted backgrounds, and like while they used them a lot in like Mary Poppins, I think they were used a little bit more seamlessly. Here, they're very noticeable, and they're beautiful. But they're like, oh, that's a painted background.
There are a lot of sound stages. There's a lot of noticeable sound stages in this movie.
Yeah. Not necessarily a negative. It's just very noticeable.
Right. It's supposed to be sunny here in the Midwest.
Thank you, Kurt.
Shake my fist at you, Kurt. Thought we were pals. Second shot twinsies, man. Come on.
You're also the most polite Nazis ever.
They were very polite Nazis.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, you're very noisy, English woman. So we're gonna put you over there. Please be quiet. Please. Okay, go over there. Go away. So,
you know what was weird though? It's like when they decided that they were gonna actually caption. Did you ever notice that? Because I thought there was an issue with my TV. Like sometimes it shuts captions off.
Yeah, no. I like to keep the captions on because sometimes I miss some of the words. But no, they literally had lines of German that were straight in German. I mean, I understood the meaning from most of the time, but it was interesting.
Right. It's only at the end do they actually like translate one of the things in German, and it was like one of the easier things. I mean, they might as well have just said sauerkrauten, and I'd be like, oh, I know what they mean. Guten Tag. Zigaretten and wieder mal einschütten. So yeah, that's our take on Bedknobs and Broomsticks. I don't keep this one off of your watch list. It is good.
Yeah.
It is, it's not as much of a chore, but if you're a fan of Mary Poppins, you're gonna have a very hard time not comparing the two.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that's all I got to say about that. What are your thoughts? If you have seen Bedknobs and Broomsticks, we want to know what your thoughts are. Leave a polite comment below. Please, if you haven't done so already, thank you for watching our episode tonight. Make sure you give this video a big thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. We do these videos every week. And in fact, if you're hanging around for the live stream, we'll be back a few minutes after we wrap this one, because we have got episode 4 of Falcon and the Winter Soldier coming up as well to discuss that one. So anyway, Mike and I host a little podcast called Geek Salad. You can get that wherever you get your podcasts. So check us out on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Podcasts, you name it. Also, rate us on iTunes. And don't forget to head over to Podchaser and find us there. Leave a review of the show for the month of April. If you leave a review, Podchaser will donate 25 cents to Meals on Wheels. If we respond back to it, that's another 25 cents that Meals on Wheels will get. So let's double up those 50-cent things. Every cent counts, so thank you very much. If you want to keep up with us on the social medias, follow us on Twitter at Geek Salad Radio and on Facebook at Geek Salad Podcast. Also, buy the merchandise. We got t-shirts, we've got mugs, and after COVID shot number 2, I'm going to be laid up for a few days. I'm going to make some new designs. I've got some ideas percolating in my head, so we should have some brand new cool swag coming out pretty soon.
I can smell it.
Yes, exactly. It smells just like cheap hot dogs.
I love cheap hot dogs.
You know what? Sadly, I do too. So until next time, I'm Andy.
I'm Mike.
Go forth and be nerdful.